It's July 1884 in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. A 22-year-old black man named Andy Burke is accused of assaulting a young white girl who was reportedly 13 years old. He's arrested and thrown in the city jail, but his punishment isn't going to come from a judge or a jury. A mob will decide his fate. This is the story of how an accusation, just an accusation, became a death sentence. And it's a story that reveals a brutal chapter of American history, one that for decades people tried very hard to forget. That accusation was all it took. On July 18th, a white mob stormed the Tuscaloosa jail, and they didn't meet much resistance. They seized Andy Burke and dragged him out into the street. There was no trial, no evidence, no chance for him to say a single word in his own defense. The mob was the law now. They tortured him, hanged him from an oak tree at a public intersection, and then, to make their point, shot his body multiple times. And for the murder of Andy Burke, no one was ever held accountable. His death wasn't just a murder, it was a public spectacle designed to enforce a brutal racial hierarchy. It was a message sent through terror, and it was just the beginning. Burke's lynching was the first of at least 8 documented racial terror lynchings in Tuscaloosa County between 1884 and 1933. 7 other black men, Bud Wilson, Charles McKelton, John Johnson, Sidney Johnson, John Durrett, Cicero Cage, and Dennis Cross, were also murdered by mobs. The reason was often nothing more than an accusation involving a white woman. In the case of Dennis Cross, the last victim, the sheriff later stated the woman he was accused of assaulting had never been attacked at all. These weren't isolated events. This was a calculated system of control through violence, and it's why millions of African Americans fled the South in what became known as the Great Migration, escaping this constant climate of terror. Today, the Equal Justice Initiative has placed a historical marker near the site of that old jail to remember Andy Burke and the other victims. Their stories force us to confront how a simple accusation could be turned into a weapon and how racial terror has left a deep, lasting mark on our history. So, what does it mean when a community finally starts to acknowledge these truths? Let us know your thoughts below.